All right, here we go with the Industrial Revolution and the Progressive Era. This is standard number 11 of the Georgia Standard of Excellence in U.S. history. In standard 11, we're going to examine the connections between the rise of big business, the growth of labor unions, and technological innovations. These are the key concepts that you need to know for this unit, or for this standard, I should say. And the first thing we're going to talk about are railroads. Railroads was a big thing during the Civil War. Lincoln orders thousands of miles of railroad construction, which is going to help after the war because they're going to find ways to use the railroad in order to transport goods, which is going to spur business. And the business is going to be spurred because this railroad is still in the oil industry, which we'll talk about later. So this is a map that shows the railroads kind of before the Civil War, before the end of the Civil War. It's not a whole lot going on. As you see, most of the railroads are definitely in the North. That's an advantage that the North had during the Civil War. And then after the Civil War, you're going to see thousands and thousands of more mileage of railroads all over the United States. Specifically, you see the one that's going across the United States, the Union Pacific, and the Central Pacific, connecting at Promontory Point, Utah, which is going to be the Transcontinental Road that we'll talk about a little later. The impact of railroads, you have the mass production and distribution of items is going to create enormous profits for different corporations, the most notable ones being inside of the steel industry and the oil industry. And the main guy in the steel industry is going to be John D. Rockefeller. And this image just shows that John D. Rockefeller grew his business to be so large that it's going to control a lot of the government. This also shows the same thing. The name of Rockefeller's company was Standard Oil, and as you see, Standard Oil is representing an octopus and reaching out its tentacles to control government. So, big business, you're talking about John D. Rockefeller and Standard Oil Company is going to create one of the most notable monopolies during this time. He's actually going to build that monopoly into being a trust, where a trust is one company that has several baby companies up under it, which those baby companies' finances are controlled by the one big company, Standard Oil. And Standard Oil is going to dominate, control about 90% of the U.S. oil industry. So how does he put together this monopoly, and how are monopolies put together? Well, some were vertical and some was horizontal. The vertical integrated monopolies control all the different levels of production, while horizontal monopolies just wanted to dominate one line of production. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie, as your right-handed quote, is going to try to dominate vertically. They want control of all lines of production so that, you know, their competitors are not able to kind of control their prices or control what they can and cannot do. So Andrew Carnegie believed in vertical integration. As we talked about on the last slide, Andrew Carnegie is going to be the owner of Carnegie Steel Company, stationed near Pennsylvania. Station in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. As you get the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Steel land, steel country. The Bessemer process is going to allow him to efficiently mass produce steel, which is going to lead to him building big skyscrapers and bridges and large steel things that's going to allow him to make a whole lot of money. As we said, John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie is both going to be believing this vertical integration is going to make a massive amount of money for themselves. And with vertical integration, a lot of these companies are going to be competing in order to get the new technology that's going to allow them to make money off of that new technology. And that's where you get things like the telegram is going to replace the last Pony Express. Now you're going to have people sending messages through telegrams. and that was helped by Morse code. Morse code was invented 1832, and the telegraph is going to allow people to send messages, which is going to create better communication, which helps business. Then you get this guy right here on the right, Alexander Graham Bell, which is going to create even a better line of communication. That is the telephone. So Alexander Graham Bell invents the telephone, which is allow voice-to-voice communication, which is going to impact the United States by allowing long-distance communication, which is going to help people run their business more effectively. Then you have Thomas Edison and the light bulb. The most important part of the light bulb being the electric part. The light bulb is going to light up a lot of different cities, allow people to stay up longer, allow people to work inside of factories longer. But the electric part allowed people to have electrically powered machines so that they can use machines instead of using their hands to do work. So these are the review questions. Make sure you go back and answer those. And that's the end of Standard 11. We're going to see you back on Standard 12. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And in Standard 12, we're going to be talking about, as you see on the pictures, immigrants coming in from other countries. We're going to have a lot of fun in Standard 12. So see you then.